Thank you very much. So, guys, welcome again. Bienvenidos. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm super excited. This is the first time that I'm going to do a guide tour here in Gijón. It's a very special city for me because my family lives in here. And I'm going to start showing you the marina. It is this beautiful place. It's this harbor designated for just leisure activities. And here is where it's going to start our our tour today. Gijón is a very old city, and when I'm talking about very old, I'm talking about iron ages in the ancient times. Okay, it's very old, and it has been always very connected to this part of the city because now you can see this place as a leisure space, as a marina space. Because originally it was a fishing harbor, so the main story of the city starts right here. Here is where the fishers will take their boats and go out there behind those walls that you see at the very end is the ocean, is the Cantabric Sea and the Atlantic Ocean, just in that direction, and they will go there for fishing. And later it also came the trade and of course travelers and a lot of influences that came into Asturias, in this region that we are right now, here in Spain, in Gijón. Let's keep on moving. Let's show you around. So I would like to say before we start our our tour that, guys, if you have any questions, please just go for it. Okay, you already know me. I'm fine with you taking the microphone and asking something. Also, you can type your questions in the chat if you want. Venetia will read them and ask me about it. I may not be able to give you every single answer, but I will do my best. So this part that we have here is an extension of the harbor because of course right now it's very big and there's many people who has these boats for recreational purposes. People just like to spend the day outside the walls, just in the ocean, fishing or just enjoying the sun. But this part that you're seeing right now is the oldest part of the harbor. This is what I was telling you. That is really the heart of this city. We are right now in the north of Spain, in the north coast. So this is not the kind of climate that you may be expecting from Spain. I know many people expect to see a very warm climate and always sunny, and tons of palm trees. By the way, we have some palm trees here, but it's not the most common thing. This is what we are in a part of Spain that we call the green Spain. It's because it rains a lot and it's very green. Today we have a beautiful day. It's sunny. I guess everyone is on the beach. We will see that later, that we are going to be walking there too. But it's a very nice day, but not all days are like this over here. Here, the ocean is dangerous. The waves are strong, and therefore the relationship with the sea, it has been always a love-hate thing for people from this part of the country, because it was from the sea that they will get their their food, and they will get their money and everything. But on the other hand, it's a very dangerous business to do, and of course many people was dying, right, doing this kind of work. So right now that you see this beautiful marina, I want you to somehow erase that vision and imagine it as a very poor, old space full with boats. Sorry, honey, ¿puedes bajar un poco el sonido? Porque el eco me confunde, ¿no puedes? Okay, sorry guys. I have the echo of the sound and makes me a little bit confused. So you have to imagine it with all the fishers. They were like kind of poor people, not the richest people in the world, of course, and full of little boats ready to go out and fish. No, not that. And fish and get their food and their money from there. Once we are here, you are able to see those beautiful buildings in the background. And that part that we have there is a neighborhood of the city that is called Cima de Villa. Cima de Villa is the oldest part of the city. It was the first settlements of the city. It was happening right there. If you saw the picture from our promotion for this tour guide, you saw a picture of a little peninsula surrounded by water. So Cima de Villa, the neighborhood that we are seeing right there, is the part that you can see also. We can't see it now, right? But it's a peninsula, yes, that is elevated. And that created a perfect spot for settlements. They would have views over the ocean. They could see the enemy coming, and they would get a little against the storms. Storms are here intense and dangerous, so you will need to be protected in a place. Usually, Gijón is told to be a Roman village, so a Roman edification, a Roman city. But the truth is, it's much older than that. And even before the Romans, the first settlers of this place were there. At the very top of the hill, there is a beautiful sculpture, very famous here in the city. There is somehow an elegy to horizon. That is the name of the statue. If you see the image we sent you for the promotion of this event, you can definitely see it. It's supposed to be a very poetic sculpture, but it's somehow funny. I'm going to tell you a funny story about it because I think it represents very well the personality of this region of Spain and of the city here. People and of the people here. The people from this region, they are funny and they like to do kind of a sarcastic, ironic kind of humor. So they call it, it's very massive, it's very big, and because of the shape it has, they call it the toilet from King Kong. King Kong toilet is the name of that sculpture in this city. And it's a way of course, it's somehow mocking the sculpture, but at the same time, it's showing love to it. It's a very Asturian thing to do, to show love at the same time that picking on you. My boyfriend Esteban, that is our cameraman today, is laughing behind the camera because he knows it's true. Okay, so going. When did this harbor stop being a fisher harbor and became a marina? Well, it was somehow progressive because first it was on the 19th century that this city changed a lot because of the industrialization. And it was at that time when progressively this harbor was too small for suddenly the bigger boats they were using for fishing. So progressively it was moved, the fishing area harbor. It was moved farther on the west, on that direction right there, to a bigger space and more prepared, right, more modern, that it became El Musel. El Musel is the name of the current fishing harbor. And this one progressively became a place for leisure. And it was in the 50s, in the 1950s, when it took progressively took the aspect and the aesthetic that it has right now. And that, of course, has affected the image of the city because originally this was a working space, and now Gijón city is very focused on tourism and enjoying the ocean with also sports like surfing or kayaking, all those kinds, and also for sewing, right, with these boats. Okay, we are going to be slowly walking towards our next stop. I don't know if anyone has a question already.
Yes, Paula, I actually have a question. You said that it's an area for surfing as well?
Yes, it is. Just not right now where we are seeing it, of course. Here there's no waves.
Yeah.
But we are going to be going also to San Lorenzo's beach. And maybe there we will be able to see some surfers. It's a very common
Ah,
place. Yes,
so the waves are
surfing.
pretty big there, yeah.
Yes, pretty big. Yes, this is
Oh,
not
interesting.
Mediterranean Sea. When you think
Mhm.
about Spanish beaches, you think about them like Barcelona or Valencia, Mallorca, maybe. And those cities and those places are next to the Mediterranean Sea. And the Mediterranean Sea has a few waves. It's very warm and very calm because it's just a sea surrounded by earth, surrounded by different countries, right? But here we have Cantabric Sea that is also a part of the Atlantic Ocean. So very strong waters in here with very high tides and very low, and also dangerous. That's what I was saying before that uh, people will consider the ocean very important and a base for their lives, but also an enemy somehow, right? A very dangerous part of their lives. Yes.
Yes, that's very interesting, actually. Thank you.
Mhm. You're welcome. Anyone else has a question?
So
I
if
have a
anyone has
question
a question, yeah, go ahead.
because you mentioned that it is actually started from the Iron Age. Is it considered like the
Yes.
oldest city, la ciudad más antigua en España?
Not the oldest. Not the oldest. No, but very old. Very old. I think we couldn't say Spain is a territory that has been inhabited for so long, and many cultures and people has been part of this place. We are a very heterogeneous country, I would say, and that's why you can really go very far away in the past for the settlements in Spain. So I wouldn't say that is like the oldest, definitely not. But it's pretty common to have cities like this in the Iberian Peninsula with very old roots. Yeah, that is true. Okay, thank you, Gift. Did I solve your question?
Sí, sí. Gracias.
I mean, it was Gift, right? I'm not seeing you, but I believe it's your voice.
Sí, sí, es mi voz.
That's
Ah,
amazing
okay.
how
I
you
know my
recognize.
students. You see, I know my
Yeah,
students. Okay, so here we
amazing.
have a better view of Cima de Villa. What as I told is the oldest of the city, is pre-Roman, and is situated in this small elevated peninsula, as we commented before. We are not going to have the time today to really enter the neighborhood and walk through it. You can find pictures in internet, but the inside it is very it's a very regular layout because most part of what is now built it has its origins in the medieval times. And in those times, there were no kind of urbanistic plans. Just people would arrive and create their houses however they were able to do it. What is true is that it has very narrow streets and the houses are very close together. That will ensure that the line of houses will be more protected and they will get less cold, less wind, and less effects from these storms, right? And now we are actually arriving to a beautiful place in Gijón and also our next stop. And all these square that you see right here, this is Plazuela del Marqués. Very important spot since it's in between the ocean, the fishing harbor, Cima de Villa, where it was this old neighbor, the beginning of the city of Gijón, later the modern buildings from the 18th century and the 19th century. So it's somehow, this has been the place where the fishers, but the fishermen, but also the travelers, also the trading people, where they will all reunite with the people of the city. Okay, let's go. Let's cross the street and let's see to not lose a teacher or a cameraman with the traffic.
Yes, please. Please
Okay, I think
be
we are safe.
careful.
Safety first.
Safety first. We don't want to lose you.
So this is
We have a lot of fans.
This is the. No, you will not. You will not lose me. So here we have like different elements in this plazuela. They deserve mention. Oh, we forgot. Sorry, we forgot what's a special point. Oh my goodness me. Sorry, guys. Let's go back. You know me already. If I don't forget a thing, it's not me. Okay, just there you see that we have a tree, a green tree. Sorry. What do you think it's made of?
I don't know.
What do you think it's made of?
Maybe the other students know better. Maybe they can like comment.
Yes, please make your guesses.
Box. Come on, guys. Maybe we can guess. Maybe
what
we
is
can,
the material?
maybe we can gamble on it. Like, what is that?
It's shining.
No one? I think everyone's a bit shy.
A rock?
Ah, come on.
A rock, profe?
Well, it's made of glass.
Oh.
It's made of glass,
Oh.
but not just any glass. If we get closer to it, I think we can cross now again. Living dangerously. Bottles. Can you now? Can you identify it's made of bottles? Is it visible? Well, this is a very beloved sculpture in the city. Originally, it was supposed to be part of a temporary exhibition of sculptures in the, here in Gijón, but people in the city liked it so much that it became permanent. Why they love it so much? Because it's made out of cider bottles. I don't know if you can see them. Actually, they have to replace them sometimes because the ones here in the lower part, people sometimes take them just as a souvenir, I guess, or I don't know. So they just put more in this part, but it's made of barrels of cider. And cider is a very important drink here in Asturias. It's part of the identity of this region. I think some people is really enjoying our little explanation, guys. So nice. And so as I said, it's part of the identity of this region. And it's not like the cider you know maybe from the United States or England or countries. This cider is just made out of apple juice, and it has no bubbles. It's not frizzy and it's not sweet. It's more like acid and very refreshing. And it's made here for many centuries. And so the tree is actually represented an apple tree. It's an apple tree, the origin of the own drink itself, and it's somehow an homage to that drink and to the culture around it. Later, we are going to be in Plaza Mayor. We are going to be in Plaza Mayor later, and hopefully we will see some people drinking cider, and you will be able to experience and see how is an important part of the culture and of social life in this part of the country. So people gather around this drink. Okay, so wow, look, such a big group of people. Okay, so let's go back to this. Let's go back to this Plazuela del Marqués that we already acceded to. There's three things that we are going to be seeing in this plazuela. One of them is the sculpture we have right there. Under it is written Infans Pelagius. It's Latin for saying, wait. It's Latin for saying Pelagius, prince. And it's a sculpture of a very famous person here in not only in Asturias but also in Spain, as we consider him one of the foundational heroes of the one of the foundational heroes of Spain itself. So maybe you know that for a while we were conquered, right, in the 8th century for the Muslims coming from the north of Africa. They entered Spain through Andalusia in the very south of Spain, and then they very fast conquered a big chunk of the Iberian Peninsula, and suddenly just the north of Spain remained not conquered by the Muslims. It was a little bit like Asterix Obelix thing, you know, those irreducible Gales. So here we have the irreducible Spaniards. And Pelayo was the king of the Asturian kingdom. And he organized, he commanded a small group of Christians that and lead the resistance against this occupation of Spain. It's very famous about him. One battle called Batalla de Covadonga, and this Covadonga battle that is so famous symbolically marks the beginning of the Christian kingdoms of Spain that somehow have they identify us as a country. He was the first king of Asturias, and after him, the kingdom of Asturias, it was the first of the Christian kingdoms that it was established after the Muslim occupation. The sculpture, of course, is much older. It represents him with the crown and also the medieval vestments that you can see, the sword, everything. And in his right hand, he has this very particular cross in his hand. Has this very particular cross. There is a symbol of Asturias. Actually, if we would be able to see a flag of Asturias around here, you will see that same cross on it. That is the importance of this king and his story. Also, many people here, men, are called Pelayo. It's a very common name for boys. Still, no, no puedo. Estoy ahora mismo haciendo una visita turística. Someone asked me to take a photo, but I'm not that kind of multitasking person.
Paula, I have a question.
Yes, go for it.
Earlier you mentioned that there's a term for boys. What was it?
A name. Pelayo.
Pelayo.
Just as the king. Pelayo, just as the king.
Is it Spanish origin, or is it from a local language or something like that?
I'm not sure, but what I can tell is that the only part of the country where this name is common is right here. So it would be probable, I think it would be reasonable to think that it has a northern origin, I believe.
Oh. So I guess if we go to Gijón, then I guess we can't use chicos. This is a joke,
I think
by
you're
the way.
you're gonna meet some pelayos. Yes, if we come to Gijón or Asturias, you're gonna meet some men with the name Pelayo. Definitely, very common. Also, do you remember that I told you that he won this very important battle called Covadonga? So Covadonga is also a very common name for ladies in this part of the country. It's also common. Yes.
Oh, that's very
we like
interesting.
to use historical events apparently to create names here. Well, the other thing we are going to be seeing is this beautiful palace. This is called Palacio de Revillagigedo. Wow, that is a long name, isn't it? Revillagigedo. It was built in the 18th century as we see it right now, but that's not the first edification that it was here. Before, in the Middle Ages, it was very important to protect this part of the city because it wasn't only fish and trade what came from there, also pirates. So it was important to protect this part of the city, and that's why the tower that we have here, okay, it was the first to be created. It was earlier than that. It was a castle to help protect the space. But later, a noble family bought the space here and decided to build a palace. A palace has no defensive uses. It's just for living and also for showing power, importance of the family. So they had somehow to adapt the structure into the figure, into the aspect of a palace. What did I do? They built a beautiful facade, and then at the other side, they imitated the first tower and created a second one. And then they kept the symmetry, but of course, it doesn't look like a pure palace. It's somehow something into between a palace and a castle. Let's get a little bit closer and see some elements. They are quite interesting. Well, this palace was built following the Baroque style. I don't know if the students know a little bit of Baroque. It's architectural but also appears in painting, appears in writing, appears in all kind of arts. It's a style that is very connected with decoration. It's designed to impress. It has grand entrances. It has dramatic decoration, and it has powerful visual effects. It tries to really give an impression to the person seeing it and really showing that the owner of this place is powerful, has power, it's noble, is an important family. So that's why you see the facade, you see many, many elements that cover almost all the space available. We have the columns with all that decoration. In the lower part, we have the very impressive entrance. The door is completely decorated. Also, the changes in between the floors, right? The different floors are also decorated. Everything is there. And also, if you pay attention in the upper side, you're gonna be seeing the coat of arms. Do you see the coat in the middle of the facade? It's written Ave Maria, and then there's different elements in it, and then a crown over it. Pretty impressive, right? Coat of arms was something very common in the Middle Ages and later for powerful families in Spain. Each powerful family, they have their own coat of arms, and they will include elements that would represent their family. Sometimes included flowers, others animals, others castles, or many things, right? And they will also include things like crowns over them, which give the image of royalty. So that is the coat of arms of the owners of this palace, the noble family that owned it.
Paula, I have another question, if you're
Yes.
fine with that. Does each element represent something from each family?
Yes, usually yes. The family creates the coat of arms to represent their personality, or maybe their victories in battle, or maybe the region they are from, or in this case, for example, clearly it was a Christian family. I mean, nothing new in Spain, right? But they included that Ave Maria to just make sure that everyone knows, okay, we are Christian. So it's somehow representing who you are as a family.
Oh, that's very interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's a beautiful place. If you have seen some other Baroque palaces, maybe from Italy or also in Spain, there's many, you may think, well, Paula, but that doesn't look exactly the same. It doesn't look right like other Baroque palaces that I know. And you would be kind of right because of two reasons. First of all, this looks heavier and stronger somehow because they are using a part of a older construction that had military uses. That somehow limits how much can you transform this space into a very decorative building. On the other hand, we are in Asturias, North Spain. And over here, the character of people, and by the way, character of people defines what we like artistically, right? The personality of a society has a lot to do with the kind of arts we create. Here, people is more tame. They don't like showing off that much. It's not so dramatic. And that is the reason it doesn't look so elegant like may do other Baroque palaces. Of course, right now it's not anymore the house of a noble family. It's is a property of a bank that is called Caja Astur. Interesting because Astur is the name of the people of this region. Somehow, not only because of the ethnic, also because of the culture, the history. Their name, right, is Pueblo Astur, Astur people. So this is the Bank of Asturias, Caja Astur. And in here, nowadays, the space is used to do exhibitions, to do concerts, and also educational events. And it has been completely transformed. So now, of course, has other usages that didn't have before. All right. Guys, how are you doing? Is it been entertaining?
I mean, for me, yes, but maybe for the students, maybe they can give a reaction or they can open your mic, maybe. Come on, guys.
Yes,
What do you
please
think?
open your mic.
Very interesting.
Oh, thank you. Guys, do you have any other questions?
Anyone has any questions? Maybe you can send it in the chat box if you're shy so I can read it for Paula. No?
Yes, please.
Or
All
maybe
right.
we can roll
Then
one and then we'll wait for
let's
their questions.
see. Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Venecia. So let's see the last element we are going to be explaining and talking about in this Plazuela del Marqués. And it's this well. It doesn't look like the big thing. It doesn't look like a very memorable building, but it has its importance. Of course, originally it was simply a well, pozo in Spanyol, just to take sweet water out of the earth, right? So you could get water for drinking, for washing, and all the common usages of it. But at some point in the Middle Ages, this was a main political space for the city. People didn't have town halls at that time. They didn't have palaces or houses designated to do politics or other services that public needs, right? That a community needs. So they will use this place as the space for doing and all those functions, for bringing all those functions to the citizens. Here is where political decisions were made. Here is where judges will impart uh, oh, sorry, suddenly my English is broken. But it's where judges will do their trails to the people. It would be where questions to the community were asked. So it was a very normal place, but somehow it was established as a political spot for the city. Here is a well. In other cities like mine, these kind of decisions and events were made next to a church. Also very common. I remember like 3 years ago, we did a tour guide similar to this one in León. And I think I brought you to Catedral. Silvia, do you remember? Because Silvia was there. Did we go to Catedral in León, Silvia?
Yeah, I think so. I
We
kind
did,
of
right?
do you remember?
You kind of not remember anymore? We have to repeat it then. We have to do it again.
Yes, please.
But the thing is, when I was there with the students, I told them that in the Middle Ages, There is a specific spot on the facade of the cathedral where judges will go and decide who was guilty and not of the things happening in the city, right? Now we are changing the spot and we are going to go under this arc that we have here. Also an important part of the city because we are basically changing from the working side, the also where workers and fishermen will live, to the newest part of the city, more elegant. In Europe, we have kind of a thing with arcs, with arc like this. When you get closer to a place that is important, because maybe it can be important politically, religiously, socially, in many kinds, it's very common to have an arc. Romans will do arcs for when they won battles or wars, just to show their triumph. And somehow, I think for us Europeans, we somehow understand that an arc gives access to an important space. So if you want to access a cathedral, very commonly to have an arc to enter. Also, if you want to access a palace, very common to have an arc. This one that gives access from the Plazuela del Marqués and the harbor to Plaza Mayor. So let's keep on going. You see, it's very, there's tons of people today. Of course, it's Saturday, so everyone's free. They are enjoying their free time with their families and friends. And look, we even have a market.
Oh, wow. Is this like a weekend market, Paula?
Yes, it is. This market only happens on Saturdays.
Oh, very
So for the
interesting.
rest of the week, this space is completely empty. But today, right? Today we have here some local products, some of them. Food products, also artisans from all kinds. We can have a look. Since we have it here, I think could be interesting for the students. So this is the space of Plaza Mayor. It's a very important spot of the city because a lot of the public life is happening around this place. I think if you ever had the opportunity to travel to Spain, you would realize that in every city there's always a Plaza Mayor. Plaza Mayor is the main center of the city, the beginning of all what is happening in that place. It's a place for meeting friends, for doing business, for festivals, exhibitions, any kind of festivity would be in Plaza Mayor. And they also look kind of the same all around Spain. It's very common to have these arcs that we are seeing around, with the covered part in there. Can you see that? The architecture is pretty simple, but since everything is the same around the Plaza Mayor, it has some charming vibe. It's elegant, it's classic, and it represents somehow the novelty of the city. Why do we have these arcades around Plaza Mayor? Well, as I told you, north of Spain, or most part of Spain, is not that warm. It's not that cold. It's not that hot. And here in Asturias, it rains a lot. So this arcade around the Plaza Mayor gives you a space without rain, without wind, that is actually protected, and also gives space for the businesses, cafes, and other shops that have their stores in the lower part of the building that goes all around Plaza Mayor. We're going to show you how it looks inside of the arcs, where people is actually walking. You see, here it's not sunny anymore. In summer, it creates a very nice place in the shadow. In winter, gives you protection against the weather. Okay, so I think we can walk around the market a little bit. Let's see what we find.
Will
Of
this
course,
be a
Saturdays.
mukbang?
Yes. Sorry,
Oh.
Venetia?
Will this be a mukbang from you? Like a...
I'm not gonna do that to students, for students. No, but maybe we can see some typical produce and food from Asturias. Here, for example, we have one store that's selling traditional cheese, very famous from this part of the city. Over here, countryside is very green. So, of course, there is a lot of cows and sheep. And it's because of that that a lot of cheese is produced. And cheese from this region, they commonly win a lot of competitions on like best cheese of Spain, best cheese of Europe. Many of the winners from this region. Of course, very common also here the work with leather because of the same. A lot of many cows are raising in this part of the country. So there's tradition of using their skin, right, the leather, for different um, goals, for different uses. As you see, little Grogu also made his appearance in Asturias. Something also typical from this part of the country in general, is bread. If you have been in Spain, you know we eat a lot of bread, especially compared to Indonesians. I once asked my students how many times a week they eat bread, and they told me like once or twice. The rest is rice. For us, it's like 3 times a day we eat bread. Here we have some very particular sweets called quesadillas. They are very delicious, made up with honey and almonds, and they are very traditional from this part of the city. Okay, more cheese, of course. As I said, important produce in this region. Even more cheese here. I would like to talk about something that we have behind us right now. This is a typical bar in this region, in Asturias, not only in Gijón, and this is called a tigre. I mean, this is a very elegant tigre. They can be much less much less pretty, but also they can have much more personality, right? The thing is, tigres are bars, but bars for serving cider. We talked about cider before when we were seeing the tree, right? That sculpture. Um, there is a tree made of cider bottles, and in these places, traditionally, they will only serve cider. Nowadays, of course, they also serve other things as traditional food from Asturias that is served next to the drinking. It's very common for people to come here with family and or friends and to spend the afternoon or the evening just chatting, enjoying time together. I think Spain is a place where we don't do that a lot inside our homes, in our apartments and houses. We tend to do it outside, in bars. And that's why there's so many bars and restaurants in our country. It's a social space, not only a space for drinking because you're thirsty or you want coffee. It's more a place for getting together and spending quality time. It's really a pity that right now we don't have anyone doing sidra. I would like to show you how they serve it because it's honestly quite interesting. There is a pouring ritual for the cider. So the cider is in the bottle, but when it must be served, it has to go through a process of oxygenation. And for that, you see that the waiters, they are specialized in this technique. They hold the bottle very up, even above their head, and the glass very low behind, under their waist. And then they pour a very thin string of cider that goes down and hits the border of the glass. And then cider becomes very fluffy and oxygenated, and it has the perfect spot of acid, freshness, and flavor. Careful with cider, guys, because even if when you drink it, it tastes like apple juice. It's not apple juice, and if you drink too much, you definitely can get wasted. So careful, careful, if you want to do that. Another particularity of this ritual around the drink is that people tend to share a glass. Of course, that was stopped during pandemic for a while, but now we are back to normal. So people also is sharing glasses again. So a group of friends, let's imagine 4 or 5 friends, get a bottle of cider and they get like maximum 2 glasses or 1 glass. So the waiter will pour the cider in small amounts. These small amounts we call kulin, kulin, kulines. And I'm not going to give the perfect translation, the exact translation to the students, but maybe the most proficient students understand the joke. It's because of the bottom of the glass, the bottom of the glass. So they do this small amount of cider that then you drink, you leave tiny little bit at the very end, and that one you pour into the floor. So you kind of wash the glass for the next person. And then they do a round, the waiter go away, and maybe 10 minutes later, the waiter come back and do another round of pouring for everyone. Okay, let's keep on going. Guys, maybe we are able to see a gaita. I'm sure that you have the image of, how is my voice, Venecia? It's very noisy right now.
We can hear you pretty clearly. We have a question actually, Paula. Devri is asking, can we share the cider glass with total strangers?
No. That's something that you only do with your friends and family as a way to show your closeness and your trust in these people. But you never share them with people that you don't know. No.
Okay, noted. I do have a
So no worries, because if you come to Gijón and you decide to try cider, you won't be forced to share the glass with people that you don't know. That's fine. You're safe. Let's come
Paula,
here because we have a wedding and there's something you absolutely have to do. We have some gaita players. And we're going to try to show you because this was not planned, but it's so interesting. By the way, this is a wedding in Spain. A civil wedding. ¿Te puedes acercar y grabar un poco? Our cameraman is going to get closer so you can see the traditional instruments called gaita from this part of the country. Maybe you expected something like that instrument from Ireland or Scotland, even Northern Europe, but that flute that the man is playing is the most traditional instrument from this part of the country. Can you hear it?
Yes, we can see it.
Can you hear the music a little bit? All right.
We can't hear the music, unfortunately. Your mic is too good.
my microphone is too good. And now you can't hear it for you guys. But at least I hope it was interesting to see them in their traditional costumes that they were wearing. It's very common for weddings here in the north of Spain to have this kind of surprise for the bride and the groom when they get out of the city hall. City hall is where civic weddings take place. So it's a little bit like when we do, when you see mariachis in Mexico, we have traditional music also here that goes much, much further than flamenco. Flamenco is actually a very small part of traditional music in Spain, very located in the south of the country. For the rest of the country, music is quite different. Also, regional costumes, that they don't look as Sevillana traje at all, right? So, yeah, I think that's one of those things that we are, flamenco and Sevillana, is something that we are very known for, like in the world, but it's actually not that common to see, as from a very specific region. Okay, guys, so now we are going to access, La Playa, the beach. Let's see if we can cross, because it's pretty crowded today.
Stay safe,
there we
Paula.
go.
We still need you for classes.
Oh, yes. Okay. So let's show them the beach of San Lorenzo. Beautiful place. As you see, full of people today. So this is the largest, most historic, and most iconic beach in Gijón. It's 1.5 kilometers long. It's bordered by this seafront promenade that we are standing at right now that is called El Muro, the wall. I think you can see why. So, as we said before, Mediterranean beaches are very warm with palm trees, but this is green Spain, Asturias. Here is cooler, and as you can see, the sea is powerful. Not today, it seems pretty calm, but here when the waves are strong, they reach the buildings at the other side of the promenade. So it's actually dangerous. Sometimes in winter they cut the access because the waves are so strong that can drag you. If they catch you, they can drag you in the ocean. Pretty dangerous. You know, guys, it's very interesting something, and is that we have the concept that a beach is a place for leisure, but that's a concept that is actually quite modern. Until the 19th century, nobody here will think about enjoying the beach or sunbathing or any of that. The ocean was only a place for working, and it was a dangerous place. So better to be away from it when you are not in the necessity of going in there. It was in the 18th, 19th century when posh people, basically rich people, decided, or it became fashionable to be at the beach, to bath in the ocean and to get sunbaths for health reasons. Suddenly it became fashionable, and it was from that point on that people started coming here more. And it still was not very extended. The wall, El Muro, this promenade, was created in the 1950s and not before. Okay, let's keep on walking now. We're gonna take this way because I want to show you a very charming part of the city. I think I told you before that Romans arrived here at some point. That was the first, 2nd century BC. So we are talking 2,000 years ago. The Romans at that point conquered Spain, and they will started developing cities and settlements in this part of the city. Here we have Octavio Augusto, first imperator of Rome. We have a sculpture of him right here. Is here to somehow show this connection of Gijón with the Roman Empire. Before Rome, this was a settlement of native people from the place, but it was not really urbanistic. It wasn't really a city. It was with the Romans that they changed, right? The vision and the organization here. It was them who called this city Gigia, and from Gigia came Gijón. This sculpture is specifically here because in this part of the city, it was discovered some Roman baths. Roman baths were created also in this 1st, 2nd century of the here in Spain. The access is right there, even though it doesn't look like it. It's because for many years, the Roman baths that are here were completely forgotten, covered with dust and with several layers of ground. to the point that people in this city forgot there has been Roman baths in the city. It was in the beginning of the 20th century. I think it was 1915 when they rediscovered by pure accident the Roman baths. They are right here. It's possible to visit them. It's possible to visit them, but you need to get a ticket. It's not very expensive though. All public locations that are interesting for visiting are always they always have a price, but a small one. And you can see what is left under the ground of the city. Roman baths, termas, that is the word we give them in Spanish, were not only a place for bathing. It was also for exercising, relaxing, meeting with friends, discussing business, sharing news. So it was something like a pool, spa, gym, and social club all together. They had different pools with different temperatures. So they had a cold pool, warm pool, and hot pool, and also spaces for exercising. Romans were very organized in this regard. Yes.
You mentioned that there are 3 temperatures of pools. How do they manage to have them without our current technology back then?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. But you know, Romans were very advanced when it came to technology, especially with moving water around the city and warming it. It was a system of heating the water under the pool with little empty spaces, creating like ways where the hot air would move around, and that air was heated with how we call it nowadays, una caldera, a stove. Stove? Yeah, we could say that. The air was heated with a stove, and then it would move through these little ways under the pool, getting the water hot. And they would regulate how much hot was the water, mixing it with cold water.
I see. So it's like they had their own windpipe down there.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
yes.
That's very interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome. There, sorry, because I forgot to show you before, but you can see Pescadería Municipal. As you see, it's a very pretty building. Can you see it clearly? Guys, can you see Pescadería? Is the building right there? Is the building right there? And that was the place where the fish was sold. So one part was catching the fish in the ocean, and the other part was, of course, preparing it and selling it. And that was the place for it. This one is quite modern. It was created in 1920 something, 1930s, and it was only in use for 60 years because for the moment they decided, okay, we need a new fish market, pescadería. It suddenly industrial revolution came around in the city, and even this one got too small. So it was only in use for 60 years in this sweet spot where the old pescadería was too old, not hygienic, not enough for what the market was doing, and suddenly too small for what the industrial revolution brought to this city and this part of the country. So anyways, it was built specifically for that. And they wanted to create something that really would show that it was a modern, hygienic, elegant space. And it's very curious, you know, that of course in this kind of communities, everyone in the family was included in the business. So we already have spoken a lot about how fishermen who go every day into the ocean to catch the fish, but how did they organize the other part of the work? Well, that was actually because of the women, the wives from those fishermen, will work here in Pescadería Municipal, and they will prepare and sell the fish. And that somehow shaped the organization of the community, because suddenly women will work daily outside the house and had more responsibilities than only taking care of the family and the children. So it has created in this part of the country, and I'm not only meaning Asturias, but north of Spain in general, Galicia, Asturias, Cantabria, and País Vasco, all those regions, it has created a different dynamic when it comes to households and traditions. Suddenly, mothers are very important in this part of the country, and they get a lot of recognition and they take a lot of decisions. So careful having an Asturian mother.
Paula, I have another question. So
yes, go ahead.
Earlier you mentioned that bread and cheese are very important in diets there. But because we're near the sea and there's a lot of fishing businesses, how significant are seafood in this part of the region for people's diet?
Yeah, that is a great question. Thank you very much. Very important, definitely. It's the other part of the. So I think Asturias has a very rich gastronomy because it's somehow a paradise of food. You have the mountains, very green, where there's a lot of cows and sheep, cheese, all these kind of products. And then you have the ocean with the seafood and fish of extraordinary quality. These are very oxygenated waters because of the entrance of the Atlantic Ocean into the Cantabric Sea, and the quality of the fish and the seafood is just marvelous. It's very good. Of course, here is a little bit cheaper than in other cities, and you get better quality, but still kind of expensive. Nevertheless, people here is very used to eat a lot of fish at home as a normal part of their diet.
Oh, thank you. It's very interesting.
Thank you. I think here there's some kind of food or seafood that maybe is not common in other parts of the country, but people here pays a lot of attention to these little fishes and kinds of seafood that maybe are not common in other places, and they really put it in value. And once you get over this kind of animal I've never eaten before, how it's gonna, maybe I'm not feeling very confident about trying it, then you get a massive variety of dishes and products that maybe you didn't know before, and now it's like exciting thing to do, right? Here in Asturias, that you can try all that. Bueno, here we have Iglesia de San Pedro. I think you remember I told you this was beach of San Lorenzo, the beach of San Lorenzo. And here we have Iglesia de San Pedro. So they are not called the same. How does it look to you guys? Is this old or new? Is it a very old construction or very new?
Maybe the students can comment in the chat box, or they can open their mic. What do you guys think? Is it old? Is it new? I think as a Gen Z, it looks old to me. What do you guys think? Oh, someone said it looks new. Dia said it looks new. Devri said it's Romanesque.
I think so. It looks new.
Oh, very interesting. Someone said it's Romanesque. Romanesque is a 12th century style of architecture, and someone said it's new. And you both are right.
Anissa said it looks old. It's old, but looks new.
That's a very good guess, guys. Thank you very much. Yes, very good. It's actually not that old, pretty new, because the original church was destroyed during the Civil War here in Spain between 1936 and 1939. So before that, there was a 15th century construction church, but it was in a new Gothic style. But after the demolition of the church during the war, they decided to build up a new church in the same spot, keeping an old image, but actually not being old. So they decided to do this new Romanesque style. I say it because someone said before that it was Romanesque, and they were right. This is a new Romanesque style. So it's a building that is imitating these Romanesque features, but also you can see that it's new in other ways, right? Like the windows we have there, they have these small glasses in the middle, and in general it gives a vibe of very clean compared to real Romanesque. So the original church was from the 15th century, and this one is from the 20th century. But in places like this, it's very common to have religious temples built one over the other. Because these spaces, they are so close to the ocean, and that looks so dramatic when you see the church at the end of the beach, just next to the ocean. It's such an impressive place that many people feels spiritual in these locations. And that is the reason that many times we have several layers of temples, one over the other, okay, till the actual one. So even though the before church was from the 15th century, it is believed that before that it was other temples, and before the Roman temple, and before the Asturian temple. So maybe this is this spot taken as a religious place. It has been here for more than 3,000 years. Very common for that to happen. Let's have a walk around it. The church is not very big, but it's very beloved in the city. And it has the name of San Pedro's Church. Do you know why did they choose San Pedro as the name of the San Peter as the name of the church? I don't know if we have any Catholics today here in class.
Is it the patron saint of the city?
Yes, that is correct. San Peter is the patron of the city because of a specific reason. If we check the Bible, I mean, in Spain, a lot of buildings and art are around the Catholic religion because it's the main religion in the country, and it has been for long time. Now we are a much more like society, like we are not so religious anymore. But here people was very religious for many centuries. So of course, oh sorry, I'm losing my camera. I feel like a famous person, like a celebrity right now with the camera going around me, Venecia. It's a strange feeling. But what I was saying is that
definitely.
what I was saying is that San Pedro was a fisherman himself before becoming one of Jesus Christ's apostles, right? So it makes sense that they decided to give this space to San Pedro as a patron, right? And to San Pedro because of his connection with the ocean. This place, I think, it gives you the will of becoming very connected with the energy and the power of the ocean. That many times is very related to this, very related to spirituality, because on one hand, it's beautiful and we love to watch it. We feel enchanted. We feel it doesn't happen to you guys that when you watch the ocean, it's a little bit like when watching the fire. You can watch and watch for a long time and you never get bored. So that same thing also can become a very dangerous force of the nature. And that somehow gives us a connection with spirituality and with religion. So it's very common in Spain in these spots, they are so privileged when it comes to the views. Many churches are built in. Okay, guys, so this brings us to the last spot of our visit here in Gijón today. I hope you enjoyed it. I think we were able to see some things that we didn't think we would be able to see, what is very exciting. And the weather really accompanied us, was making me very happy. And I would like just to say thank you to all of you for coming today, for keeping up with my English. So sorry. And for spending some time with us, visiting this beautiful city of Gijón.
Yay, thank you, Paula.
Let's show it.
Muchas gracias, muchas gracias.